Good evening, everybody. It's Steve with Real Progressives. Tonight, I'm going to take a little bit of a different tact to my live stream. A little while ago, I did a brief rant about friends who are suffering and who are going without health care, are unable to get treated for very, very serious illnesses. And the fact that we as progressive activists, whether it be on Facebook, YouTube, the real world, wherever we are, we have allowed ourselves to get swept away in just nonsense. And we have done nothing whatsoever to advance the cause of the things that really, really, really need to happen in this country. Folks, our climate change situation is dire. Our medical care in this country is dire. Our dental care in this country is dire. People killing themselves from joblessness and feeling useless and worthless is appalling. Our veterans come home after each of our wars ready to kill themselves, PTSD. We have no meaningful transition. We have no meaningful services. The VA is underfunded. It's understaffed. Every aspect of what would make our lives worthwhile and useful and abundant, every single one of these areas is being neglected. Folks, we are at war all over the world, largely to control various resources. We have the power to alter that power dynamic in this country by shifting to green energy. We have made a point of following shiny objects, hashtag bullshit, and people that should never, ever, ever be followed, leading us around by the nose. Folks, we have very real situations with voting, very real situations with our elections, etc. But you need to be aware of this. You need to be very, very aware of this. The very powers that be that can change the elections, the very powers that be that can pass the laws, the very powers that be that you're going to start here momentarily chanting somebody's name. Tulsi, Tulsi, so-and-so, so-and-so. Folks, all of this, it's in our hands for real because you can't elect your way to fixing these problems. You cannot elect your way to fixing these problems. The only thing that we can do is unite outside the system. This is not saying leave a party, do whatever you want, vote till the cows come home. I'm not telling you not to vote, I'm telling you to vote. But know that the change that we need is going to come from a mass movement within our enlightenment. It's not going to come from chanting Tulsi, Tulsi, we love Tulsi. It's not going to come from that. It's not going to come from talking about the Jews. It's not going to come from talking about gold standard bullshit. It's not going to come from any other distraction, folks. It's not going to come talking about a resource-based economy that doesn't exist and quite frankly will not exist for a long time to come, if ever. It comes from right here, right now, us uniting and rising up just as if it were a pipeline. Just as if you wanted to hear what Donald Trump's tax returns were. Just as if you saw 50 fascists at a water fountain somewhere and you wanted to protest them. Just as if it was any other thing that gets people out into the streets. When I hear people ask me, well, how are we going to do it? I wonder why they're okay with taking to the streets for other things, but they're not willing to take to the streets to save the 99%'s lives. I wonder why they feel empowered to talk about election fraud and DNC fraud and this fraud and that fraud and 100 other frauds, but they don't feel empowered to demand a new deal. Why they don't feel empowered to go to the streets and take over the airwaves. What do I mean by take over the airwaves, folks? Go to Robert Reich's page. Sit there and freaking tell him, stop lying to us. We can afford it all. Go to Rand Paul. Tell him, stop lying to us. We know we can afford it all. Go to Paul Ryan and tell him, we know that you can afford it all. Stop lying to us. Go invade the Pete Peterson Foundation and tell them to stop lying about debt, which scares people into believing we can't save lives. Go around to these various knuckleheads that talk about the Federal Reserve and tell them to stop murdering people by their inaction, by acting like somehow or another this wacko conspiracy stops us from demanding that we get taken care of. Stop allowing yourself to be sidelined because you don't understand how you can help. You don't understand what you can do. You pick up the phone. You call. You write letters. You take to the streets if you're physically able. You take a day off and you go. You work with people. You work with people like real progressives. You sit there and you go out there and you make this shit public and broadcast it at your PTA meetings, at your friggin' school board meetings, at your local city council meetings, at your state meetings, at your town halls, in front of Congress, in front of the friggin' Senate, in front of friggin' the judicial system, go in front of the Supreme Court. I don't care. Go to your local domestic court and do it. Go wherever you need to do it and do it. Talk with local people, make actions, and go out there and say, hey, we demand a new deal. We demand student debt relief. We demand green energy. We demand high-speed rail. We demand infrastructure projects. And we demand a federal job guarantee to forever end unemployment in this country. Forever. You must make the demand. I am done with progressives who think they're going to vote their favorite funny person in and somehow or another change the world. Go ahead, keep doing it. I'm not telling you to stop. I'm telling you there is a higher calling. And I'm telling you that that higher calling is within your grasp, even if there is a rigged election. Do you understand this? Even if there are rigged elections, you go to the streets, you call people, you show up at town halls, you sit there and invade CNN live feeds, you invade MSNBC live feeds, you invade these feeds. You don't sit there and talk to them like they're regular people. You demand they focus on a new deal. You demand they focus on getting rid of the lies about our government being broke. We create the fucking currency. You stop allowing people to deviate from the script and fucking do all their stupid conspiracy shit that leaves people dead and behind. The stuff we're talking about unites blacks, whites, browns, yellows, reds. It doesn't matter. Gay, straight, full spectrum. The abled and the unabled. The disabled, whatever abled. The elderly, the youth, it affects all of us. And instead of going after your little sliver of bullshit, make America itself truly great for the first time. I don't want to hear all these other reasons why it's not important to unite to make our lives better. I don't want to hear all the reasons why America's so evil. We already know America is a bad place. You know, I am grateful, very, very grateful that I got to go to AA. Some people don't like it. I don't give a fuck. But AA taught me that I could start my day over anytime. That there was a point in time to make direct amends whenever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. And others was not me. Folks, we can start over today, and we can start making wrongs right today. We can fix stuff today. And we don't have to sit there and try and bludgeon people with making them feel so low about themselves that they don't even want to get out of bed. Whoever thinks that's the right way to go about this stuff is not someone to waste your time with. These people that want everybody to feel guilt for 1,000 years, they're not the right people. Our goal is to make it better today. You can either sit there and hang your head in shame and do nothing, or you can look to a positive tomorrow and do something to make right that which is wrong. But you can't do both, unfortunately. There's too much death and destruction right now in the world for us to sit there and dally around with a bipolar mindset of, I got to feel shame this minute. The next minute, I got to do great things. I got to feel shame. I got to do great things. We got to just do great things. We don't have time for us to sit there and stretch our wrists that way and let it bleed out. We don't have time to make everyone feel like we've suffered enough. We've got to take action today to make sure the suffering of those people on this planet now, their lives are better today going forward. By any means necessary. Our very existence, our ability to survive, is deeply dependent on being organized and focused and not allowing the noise to impact you, to block out the noise and stay focused on true north. I have watched every organization I support, every organization I don't support, and all the popular people out there talking about anything but uniting for a New Deal. I'm not joking. I am looking for people that mean to save lives today. I am looking for people that want to pitch in and help today, who want to take action today, who want to contribute to things that are actually focused on making lives better today. That's what we're trying to do at Real Progressives, my friends. It breaks my heart when I talk to the people on our team and they see how many people out there are running around, wasting time, deviating, flying over here, flying over there, unfocused and unwilling to focus, unwilling to learn, and unwilling to act, unwilling to make demands, unwilling to take action. Will it take your own child dying for you to realize how serious this is? Will you need to lose a spouse or another loved one? Will you need to witness more pain and suffering before you take action? Words like neoliberalism, it's a big word. People don't understand it. But it's basically privatizing everything. It's basically pushing the burden on the people to survive, when the government is the currency issuer and it pushes the responsibility of surviving and thriving on you and I, which means we have to go and borrow money from banks. It means we have to go get really, really crappy credit cards. And it means that we have to go out there and take payday loans. And it means we have to do criminal activities just to survive. That's what neoliberalism does. It destroys social safety nets and it privatizes things like Social Security, like healthcare. The ACA was not government healthcare, was it? The ACA was a handout to the insurance companies. Once again, pushing us to private solutions for profit. Once again, not putting the needs of the people first. And once again, allowing us to pat ourselves on the back for passing healthcare reform, when in reality, it was nothing more than insurance guarantees. We have talked ad nauseum about modern monetary theory. We have talked ad nauseum about why it's so important. Yet there are still horrible, horrible, wicked, deviant people out there that would rather talk about the Jews and the Rothschilds and Soros and all these other things. To which I say, are you going to go poison their Earl Grey? Are you going to put a bar of soap in their tub and make them slip? No? Then what are you going to do? What about that gets me health care? What about that gets me dental care? What about that gets my children college for free as opposed to carrying student debt on their back like a friggin' humpback of Notre Dame? What about it? You don't have answers because it's just a loser's mindset. It is the opposite of a winner. It is the complete and utter capitulation to conspiracy theories that sideline the entire movement, that literally condemn thousands, if not millions, to die. Why is that? Because it takes enough of the people out of the game focusing on your stupid, Alex Jones-driven nonsense. And they no longer focus on true north. They go down the rabbit hole and think they found themselves something important. Folks, truth is a radical idea these days. And the truth is often not nearly as sexy as the lie. And yet here we are. When I was in Washington, D.C. at the Medicare for All rally, we were supposed to have John Conyers. We were supposed to have Nina Turner. There was Ro Khanna there. There was Margaret Flowers. And you know how many people actually showed up there? 150 people. 150 people, and I'm being generous. But do you know how many people will show up and drive for miles to take on a few neckbeards? Do you know how many people will drive for miles to ask for Donald Trump's tax returns? Take air flights out to D.C. just to be there for the Pussy Hat March? 150 people at a Medicare for All rally right there in our nation's capital, 150. What is wrong with this movement, folks? What is wrong with it? We at Real Progressives are looking to take this wherever we can. I've spoken at the Green Party National Annual Meeting. I'll be speaking at the People's Convergence Conference in the first week or so of September. I think it's the 8th through the 10th in D.C. If you don't have tickets, go get them. I'll be speaking at UMKC for the Modern Monetary Theory World Conference. I'll be speaking in October at the Unity for Democracy March. We're looking to be speaking at another MMT conference in New York City later on. And these are just the things that we can do. We could do so much more. We could do so much more. We're doing it on a shoestring budget. We're doing it out of our own pockets. We barely have any funds to do this stuff, and we need help. We need help because not one soul in any of these alternative movements are out there fighting for you and I and our children. They're off chasing bullshit. Somebody has got to do this. Somebody has got to do it, and that is us. It's you. It's us. If we don't do it, no one will. No one will. That's for damn sure. They'll focus on Republican, Democrat, this, that, and the other. Anything but progress. We have got to educate the American people how to act, even with a rigged election system, even with bought and paid for politicians, even with a corrupt justice system. We've got to teach people how to take action and mean it. Make demands. Take action. Follow up that action with more demands and more action and ratchet up the noise until we get what we need. Until we get enough of the American people understanding that we can do this stuff instead of getting depressed because some asshole's on the take. Instead of defeating yourself before you get started. Let's take some serious action and make it stick. This is the kind of stuff that really is in our hands. Why we can't get millions of people out in the streets or even paying attention to truth is unfathomable to me. I know people that would rather take their life than wait around for the dollarati to sit there and finally catch on because they're just so tired of people being self-absorbed and useless and not participating and telling everybody how they're going to fail and telling everybody, oh, it's not any use. There's no use in doing it. Every time you see someone chop the legs out of people fighting for something positive, it should enrage you. Every time you see someone cut the legs out of someone fighting for something positive, it should enrage you. As a people, as a nation, if we don't get our act together, we really ought to mail it in and quit. Because if we can't stand together for these basic things, what do we got? Socialist alternative, they're fighting for 15, but they're also playing tax games. Green Party's out there peddling the AMI conspiracy nonsense. Republicans out there fanning the flames of xenophobia and friggin' jingoism. Democrats just being the typical dullards they are, sitting there freaking fanning the flames of Russia and all the other bullshit that they get caught up in. Still ignoring the fact that they freaking stole away the election from us. Who is fighting for a New Deal today? Who is not busy trying to berate everyone to make them feel guilty? Who is not? We don't have time for that, folks. It's time for us to stand together and fight. If you don't make a demand, if you don't understand what you're asking for, and if you don't believe we can do it, it will never happen. But if you suspend your disbelief for a little while and you bond together with fellow Americans like it was when you had 27,000 people together in Sacramento. Folks, we have the ability to do this if we stop allowing negative bullshit to block our energy from being able to take decisive, focused action. I want to save lives. I'm betting you want to save lives too. I need your help. We need your help. We need each other. I'm begging you, help real progressives take this message around the world. Help us take this message to Congress. Help us take this message to the streets. Help us grow our organization so that we can keep the true north of progress going and affect the kind of change that makes all of our lives better. I'm pleading with you. Help us. If you'd like to donate, our Patreon link is in the narrative of this. If you'd like to follow us on YouTube, our channel is there. Please like it. And please get notifications so you can watch the videos. If you like Twitter, please follow us on Twitter. And you can follow me personally on Twitter as The Real Progressive. We're also on Instagram. Folks, we're going to be taking to the streets. We are going to be making direct actions. And we are going to make sure that they cannot ignore us. With your help. I'm Steve Grumbine with Real Progressives. Have a wonderful night. Be ready to fight. Take care, everybody.